The Sioux family, as well as the entire Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, began to search for Ruoli's whereabouts in the waters near Tokyo. However, with such a vast ocean and no clue, they simply couldn't proceed. When the entire self-defense force went crazy looking for Ruoli, the ship Charlie was on had already left Japan. The yacht is constantly adjusting its course in the direction of China. After a night of sailing, it has traveled about 1/3 of the distance. In the early morning, a red sunrise appeared on the eastern sea level. Although the temperature on the sea surface is extremely cold in winter, Charlie walked onto the deck, dressed in single clothes. The direction of the boat is from east to west. So Charlie stood at the stern, watching the sunrise in the east. At this time, the red sun slowly rose, and another round of turbulent red sun was reflected on the sea surface. The scenery was beautiful and refreshing. Although Charlie was admiring the beauty, he was thinking about his future, deep in his heart. Although he had never thought of leaving Oru's Hill before, he now feels more and more that sooner or later he will have to leave Oru's Hill, a place where he has lived for more than 10 years, to go to Eastcliff to achieve his life goals. Finding out the truth about the death of his parents is only the first step. After meeting Changmin Wade and having a conflict with him, Charlie still wants to give what belongs to his father back. The father was originally the heir of the Wade family. He had 4 brothers of the same generation. Even if the family property is divided equally, he should get 25% of the entire Wade family's assets. What's more, back then, it was his father who used his own power to build the Wade family to the current scale, so he should have more of the Wade family's property. This sounds right and makes sense. The total assets of the Wade family are calculated in trillions. An Emgrand group plus 10 billion in cash may not even account for 5% of the entire Wade family. For the rest, the Wade family must be divided. He can take out quite a lot. This is not to say how greedy Charlie is, but the part that Charlie didn't want his father to deserve, and finally fell into the hands of a bitch like Cynthia. In addition, it is more important to avenge the parents. Naturally, the Wade family could not shirk the blame for the parents. However, back then, the Sioux family set up the so-called anti-Wade alliance with a clear-cut stand, and antagonized his father everywhere. These are all well-known facts in Eastcliff. So in his eyes, his number one enemy is the Sioux family. Among other things, the Sioux family's anti-Wade alliance was absolutely inexcusable in Charlie's eyes, so he had to make them pay a painful price. Originally, he wanted to accumulate more strength before going to the aforementioned families to settle accounts. But now, both the Wade family and the Sioux family have taken the initiative to appear in his life, which also made him realize that he must start to be ready to face these two proactively now. It just so happened that Ruoli fell into his hands by chance, and it happened that she was almost killed by the Sioux family, so this woman can very likely be used, and at that time, she might be a great help to defeat the Sioux family. Just thinking about it, footsteps suddenly came from behind. Charlie looked back, and Warnya walked over, wrapped in a thick down jacket. Seeing him turning back, Warnya smiled at him and asked, "Why did Master get up so early?" Charlie smiled and said, "I'm used to getting up early. I have basically never slept in for so many years." After speaking, he asked, "What about you? You should have a good rest after experiencing so many things in the past 2 days. Why did you get up so early?" Warnya smiled, stroked the blue silk between her ears, and said, "I was really tired, and I really wanted to sleep well, but I couldn't stand the bumps of the waves, so I came up to breathe some fresh air." Charlie asked concerned, "Sickness?" Warnya nodded and smiled. "Fortunately, it's not too serious." With that, she walked to Charlie's side, leaned on the railing, looked at the rising sun, and said with emotion, "The sunrise on the sea is really beautiful. This is the first time I have seen the sun grow up on the sea. Watch the sunrise." Seeing that she was still worried and nervous between her eyebrows, Charlie couldn't help but call her Warnya. Warnya hurriedly looked at Charlie. "Master, what do you want to say?" Charlie asked her. "Do you have something in your heart?" Warnya hesitated for a moment, nodded gently, and said seriously, "I am worried about Grandpa's current state, and I don't know how to solve this series of things after I return." Charlie said seriously. How to solve this after you go back, don't worry about this, I will help you arrange it. As for the current state of Mr. Song. Charlie paused for a moment, then said, well, let's go back to the cabin, and I will call Orville on the satellite phone. Warnya nodded hurriedly. Okay, master. After the two returned to the cabin and got the satellite phone from the captain, Charlie called Orville directly. After Orville answered the phone, he asked, hello, who is it? Charlie said, Orville, it's me. Orville immediately said respectfully, Master, how did you change your phone number? Charlie said, I am using a satellite phone now. After that, he asked again, by the way, Orville, how is the situation of Mr. Song? Orville said hurriedly, the doctor said that Mr. Song may have been stimulated by his brain, and he has some symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. The situation is not too optimistic, but there is no danger to his life. I have been guarding him in the hospital as per your instructions. So you don't have to worry about his safety. Charlie gave a hum and then asked, what about the father and son Tianming and Honor? Any news recently? Orville said, they seem to be preparing for a board meeting. Ms. Song has disappeared and has also suffered from Alzheimer's. Now the entire Song group has no leader, so they are preparing to initiate an emergency plan for the board of directors. Tianming will officially take the post of the interim chairman of the Song group. Charlie asked, oh, do you know when and where to open the board of directors? Orville said, it seems to be held at the Song group HQ at 10 o'clock in the morning the day after tomorrow, and they have to hold a press conference at 11 o'clock to announce the major resolutions of the board of directors. Many media outlets have been invited to the scene to witness. Charlie knew in his heart that Tianming was now ready to use reasonable and legal means to take the position of Song family patriarch and chairman of the Song group in a fair manner. In Tianming's view, life and death do not make up for it, and the probability of survival is very low, and the threat is minimal. As for Mr. Song, now that he has become senile suffering from dementia, there is no threat to him either. Under these circumstances, holding the Song group as early as possible and realizing the assets for cash as soon as possible is what he and his son are most concerned about right now. Thinking of this, Charlie smiled indifferently, and said, Orville, you help me find Tianming and ask for a few invitation letters for the press conference, so I will personally join them at that time.